match. Riku Kumagai, 11-3 coming in. And you know what that means? He controls his own destiny. If Riku can pick up a victory here in this match, he will be in the top 8. So a lot on the line for both players, of course, both hopeful of a top 8 finish here, but Riku's the one who controls his own destiny, as we say.
Yeah, and the name of the game here is just early cheap interaction for Andrew Cuneo, because Riku can get off very, very quickly. So cards like Fatal Push, that's one of the most important cards. That's one of the cards that he really wants to see early, and this is ideal. He's got the Eliminate. That really helps. Another card that I want to talk about here is actually the Cling to Dust. We talk about how this Orzhov Auras deck is very resilient because it has many ways to bring creatures back out of the graveyard. But by having the Cling to Dust, ooh, he's actually binning it. But by having access to graveyard removal, it makes it such that you can actually counter all the different ways they can bring those creatures back from the graveyard.
Oh, sure, that makes sense. Andrew, with really the rogue deck in the field, it's Dimir, but not rogues. It's Dimir control, and nobody else is playing it. I mean, there might be a few other people in the entire field, but certainly nobody has been doing as well with it like Andrew has. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed. I mean, this is his play style, right? This is kind of what we've grown to expect from Andrew. It's the way he likes to play, but it doesn't always work. This time, it's working.
And Andrew has multiple answers here. I wonder if Riku's going to just run this out or wait till turn 3. And this is going to get censored. So perhaps maybe wanted to wait a turn there because Andrew is playing the full 4 copies of Censor.
Never feels good to run into a censor that you could play around. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and now Riku's going to go ahead and put that Lurrus into his hand and set up a decent turn next turn. It's not going to work out because of what Andrew has, but in his mind, he's thinking, okay, well, now I have Thoughtseize into Lurrus next turn.
Hateful Eidolon, the lone creature on the battlefield. When it comes to Andrew, he won't be putting too many creatures on the battlefield, but of course, we know that Riku is in the business of one little creature, real tall. He wants to build him up big if he can. We see him posturing here.
And you see the ability to foretell counter magic is actually really huge. Very, very strong against Thoughtseize decks, as that means that no matter what, you will have a counter for whatever primary spell that your opponents are going to try to resolve.
Interestingly, Andrew let it resolve there.
Yeah, he let it resolve because his plan is to just counter this Lurrus. And he's definitely going to be doing that. Now we're just kind of starting over, right? We're starting over. Andrew has nothing. He needs to find card draw or removal in some way because in Riku's hand, he's got that Agadeem's Awakening.
That's right. And, whoa, how about some card draw, baby?
That is about as good as it gets, honestly.
You know what they say, Paul? Always behold the multiverse off the top of the library for Andrew Cuneo, and he can put that one into the foretell zone. Ooh, a nice draw there from Riku Kumagai. He finds exactly what he needs. This is going to be a really nice turn for him as he finds Core Spirit Dancer off the top of the library. And he can start going off right here and right now.
Yeah, and you're going to see probably a sacrifice into Behold the Universe here. I think Andrew probably wants to find a Fatal Push here to try to get that Core Spirit Dancer before Riku can try to play another Aura this turn.
This would be very clutch if he can find Fatal Push. Oh,
what about 2?
How about 2? Double trouble here for Andrew Cuneo. Does he want both of them? Probably.
Yeah.
Wow. What a find there for Cuneo. Gets rid of the Spirit Dancer in response. Now, it's worth noting that the Spirit Dancer does trigger on cast, so he will get the card in hand for Riku. But still, getting that Spirit Dancer off the battlefield's amazing. Wow, and now he finds Search for his Kanta as well, and he can get that thing rolling. Riku doesn't have answers for that, right?
Well, note, though, if Riku can find an untapped land here, or I guess just a Core Spirit Dancer, that also works. Although it will die. It will die, but he's at least going to get a card off of it. And if anything, we're probably going to see an Angelic Gift here on the Hateful Eidolon and not the Core Spirit Dancer. Maybe. He could also go with the Sentinel's Eyes here just to see if Cuneo's last card is a removal spell.
He does have the Sentinel's Eyes in his graveyard. It has escape.
I just feel like you want to put anything on the Eidolon because no matter if Cuneo has a removal spell, no matter what, he's going to kill the Spirit Dancer, not the Eidolon.
Yeah, that's what my thinking would be as well. But Kumagai said, no, I want the big bonuses on the Spirit Dancer. But it didn't work out for him. That thing got killed as well. And you can see Andrew kind of scoping out the scene here, seeing what's going on in Kumagai's varying zones, graveyard, exile hand.
Yeah, and Riku next turn does have the ability to cast Agadeem's Awakening for 3, getting both the Lurrus and one of his 2-mana creatures from his graveyard and put it back into play. So if you're in Andrew's situation, a counterspell is really what he's looking for here.
All right, Angelic Gift is going to finally hit this this hateful Eidolon. It just finds a land, though, for Kumagai. He's going to play the land, get in there for 1, and pass the turn back over to Andrew. And Andrew sees Torrential Gearhulk on the top of the library. He says, I'll keep that one. Thank you very much. Boy, his library has been very kind to him. You're getting exactly what he wants.
A little better than a counterspell, I'm going to say, right? You get
Slightly
a 5/6
better.
body plus a counterspell here?
Can I give you both?
Oh, my goodness. What a draw here.
Here's the Agadeem's Awakening, which is going to be even censor-proof here as Riku played his land first, but saw it coming in the graveyard, says, I don't care. I'm countering that. And now Riku Kumagai is basically out of gas at this point and behind on board as well. And yeah, we could see Azcanta the Sunken Ruin start to take over this game, particularly if Riku can't find something like immediately.
Yeah, and he's going for Sentinel's Eyes here. I would be tempted. Oh, okay, of course, because Andrew's not going to block here.
Yeah,
that
flying.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's got the Angelic Gift on it.
Of course, yes.
So in comes the Gearhulk, a second copy of Field of Ruin. And look at that, right off the top of the library, a core Spirit Dancer. Our players really feeling it, you know?
Hey, look, like, Marshall, this is how you make deep runs in a tournament,
seriously.
Right? Combination of both.
Cuneo's going to look for an answer. He does find Shadow's Verdict. Not bad, but Sorcery Speed can't cast it right now. And that means that there is a bit of a window here for Riku.
Yeah, if Riku can find a Thoughtseize here.
Oh, that would be nasty.
Oh, and that is not going to be great. I mean, he does have the backup here now, which is good.
Yep.
And the Shadow's Verdict only exiles creatures. So the Sentinel's Eyes will still be in the graveyard.
Okay.
For Riku Kumagai to replay once he gets the SRAM into play next turn.
Yeah, this is effectively a forced play here for Cuneo also, so he must deploy the Shadow's Verdict. And that means that Kumagai gets to reload with SRAM. We do see the untapped land here from Cuneo to be able to activate Azcanta here, but that's pretty rough. He's down to 5.
1 card too late.
What was it? I didn't see.
It was a Thoughtseize off the top.
Oh!
He could find it the turn before.
And now he's facing down Andrew, who's on empty.
Yeah, and he's going to want a chain here. He's going to need to chain this. Sentinel's Eyes into something. Okay. It's a cartouche. It's a lethal attack, potentially. This is a good chain.
Seriously.
You could even potentially get this ramp big enough where the Torrential Gearhulk can no longer attack anymore.
Kumagai trying to set up for victory next turn. Successfully chaining together a bunch of auras here off of his SRAM. And it looks like he can keep going here as well. He finds Heliod's Punishment.
Now, he doesn't have the white mana, so he can't cast it this turn. But at this point, I mean, if Cuneo doesn't find something...
Oh, he finds another Shadow's Verdict, Paul. What else would he find?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we do have Azcanta the Sunken Ruin in play, so it's very likely for him to find some answer,
Yeah.
some way to kill it. Shadow's Verdict is a very, very good answer.
And there it goes. Going to wipe the board once again. Those Sentinel's Eyes will fall back into the graveyard. And we can see an attack here. And does Cuneo
Oh, and
run out Narset? Yes, he does.
Really strong in this matchup too, right? Because now you can't draw any of those extra cards.
Yeah, he
those
whiffed on
auras.
Narset and doesn't care.
Doesn't matter.
And, you know, that's all assuming that Riku's able to rebuild, too. I mean, this is a very difficult situation here for Riku Kumagai, who's had a great draw, put out a bunch of great stuff, and it just hasn't mattered. You see Negate, and there's a Vraska's Contempt as well as Behold the Multiverse, but he's just going to take the guaranteed answer here, start working on that Heliod's Punishment, start working the Azcanta the Sunken Ruin, and this one's falling apart here for Kumagai, who just can't seem to find anything.
Yeah, and at this point, it's basically over. I mean, Andrew has an answer to a creature. He's got the counterspell for the Thoughtseize, and just the fact that you can just Azcanta every single turn. I just don't see Riku coming back from this.
And that is, in fact, going to be it for game number 1. Andrew Cuneo with a 10-4 record, looking to improve to 11-4 and try to join our top 8. I should mention, by the way, we do have players in the top 8. We've got Shahar Shenhar, Shoti Asoka, and Arne Hushenbet. I also wanted to mention that this is actually Arne's second top finish here. He finished top 8 at the PT Online 4, where he ended up finishing in 7th place. So, you know, second one. I mean, what a promising career for Arne Hushenbet, who's going to be waking up tomorrow and playing the top 8. Here, though, boy, lots of pressure on Riku Kumagai. Riku's the one who can win and join those other 3 players as guaranteed top 8 competitor, and he's down a game now against Andrew Cuneo.
Yeah, and Riku, you know, making the finals of an event last year where I feel like he picked up quite a few fans as being the lone mono black aggro player in a sea of teamer decks, and making it all the way to the end. Falling just a bit short, but despite that, I mean, being able to play a deck that's not something that's, you know, one of the meta decks and making it that far in today's game, that's a really impressive feat.
Andrew's ready to rumble here, already having submitted post board, while Riku puts the finishing touches on his game 2 configuration. You better hope he gets it right, because it had to feel, from Kumagai's perspective, like he really ran well, drew well, had the things he needed at the right time, but it was one of those things where the control player just always seemed to have the answer and just never gave you a break, right? There was never the one thing where you're like, okay, now I have accrued enough advantage to actually win this game. It was just like every single time Cuneo had what he needed.
Yeah, I would say that was one of the games that was just a game where both players drew well.
Yes.
Right? Both players were kind of out of gas, and then Riku would top deck a 2-mana Core Spirit Dancer or a SRAM, and then Cuneo would follow that up with a counterspell or a removal spell, find a Torrential Gearhulk off the top to counter the Agadeem's Awakening for 3, which would have been huge. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of went both ways. I do want to talk about Shadow's Verdict as a removal spell here specifically, when comparing it to something like a Wrath of God that the Azorius control decks play. For this specific matchup, Shadow's Verdict is the superior removal spell, as it exiles these creatures that it kills, meaning that you can't get it back with Claim to Fame. You can't get it back with Luris.
Yeah, it's a huge point that you make there, Paul, and it's one that could come up again here, although at the moment we just have Fatal Push in hand with Censor from Cuneo. But I've got to mention here, Paul, Riku's on 5.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. You know, sure, Andrew's deck gives you time. That's not really the equation here, though. The problem is just resources. I mean, Andrew's just going to have more stuff available, and it looks like Riku decides, I just need to run out my threats here. He doesn't have any more lands anyway.
Land?
There it is.
Land is good. Land is good because now he gets to go Core Spirit Dancer and put Demonic Vigor, meaning that if Andrew just has a spot removal spell like Eliminate or Fatal Push, you still get that Core Spirit Dancer back.
And you get the card too. So yeah, very critical land draw there from Riku Kumagai. And let's see if he can try to get a foothold here in game number 2, because if he can't, soon we're going to be done.
This is about as good a mulligan to 5 as you could ask for, though. And now Andrew does, we talked about how Narset's good in the sense that you can't draw cards, but right now with Riku's board, he can just attack and kill the Narset.
There's a Shadow's Verdict, Paul.
Yeah,
now
that's
it's 2
big.
turns away here, but it does go into hand here for Cuneo. Kumagai's aware of it as well.
But Kumagai does have 4 Thoughtseizes and 3 Duresses in his deck, and he's going to draw 2 cards here off the Angelic Gift. So lots of opportunities to find a hand disruption spell to get the Shadow's Verdict out of Andrew Cuneo's hand.
He really needs to find that because Andrew can even cycle Shark Typhoon next turn to soak up a hit from the now flying Spirit Dancer, even if it gets huge.
He does have another turn, actually, so Shadow's Verdict can't be cast until turn 5, so he can go with the Cartouche here, and he still hasn't played a land yet, and the land that he has in hand is a swamp, so he can still find a hand disruption spell off this Cartouche.
And he does not. Okay, well, the window's still there. Oh
my goodness.
Oh, he just found Vraska's Contempt off the top of the library. Why bother with Shadow's Verdict? Would you just fire off the Contempt here?
I think you just main phase it. Then Demonic Vigor is different from Kaya's Ghost Form. Kaya's Ghost Form, if there's an exile removal spell, you get the creature back. That's not the case with Demonic Vigor. And Andrew choosing to do it on his main phase to play around a potential Sajiri Shelter, or just from allowing Riku to draw more cards off of potential auras that he might draw.
That's right, and that worked out well because Sajiri Shelter is in hand here for Kumagai. And what a draw there for Andrew Cuneo. And it looks like, okay, Luris is going to go into hand, but we're not going to see that Spirit Dancer get exposed because remember, Kumagai knows about the Shadow's Verdict. It was revealed from Narset. I mean, he's going to have to play it out and try to chain together some auras to rebuild his hand.
Yeah, but things are looking really good here for Andrew. He has the ability to make a big shark token at some point. He's got the Shadow's Verdict, so he's not really too concerned about whatever chain of events Riku might have in the immediate future. And then he's got Torrential Gearhulk into removal spell to follow that up potentially. A card that Riku really wants to find here would be Kaya's Ghost Form.
Field of Ruin here for Andrew Cuneo.
Little deck thinning action here.
Yeah.
And giving him access to all of his colored mana. But this is going to be a pretty straightforward Shadow's Verdict here. And Riku needs to rebuild. And the Shadow's Verdict, I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about. The Shadow's Verdict exiled everything. And that's an Agadeem's Awakening off the top here for Riku that does nothing.
Wow. That Shadow's Verdict plus the Vraska's Contempt just sort of echoing through this game at this point as the normal ways that Kumagai would have to rebuild have just evaporated. That normally would have been amazing. He could have got back multiple threats and a way to get them back with the Luris, and it's just nothing.
Yeah, did he have a counterspell? No, so he's going to have to Torrential Gearhulk and use a removal spell. Now, Riku does have
Sajiri Shelter.
The protection spell here, so the Spirit Dancer will live. So, there's always hope here, right? You can have those really strong chains to make this core Spirit Dancer potentially humongous.
Okay, I mean, this means we get to keep playing Magic.
Yeah, really needed an aura there.
Yeah.
As now Cuneo can sack the Mind Stone to find more answers. Really wants to find a way to just kill this core Spirit Dancer here and now.
and maybe just put the nails in the coffin. There's a torrential gear Hulk.
And
Does
there
he
is a
have
fatal
another
push.
way to kill it?
There's a fatal push in the
Push,
graveyard. So
okay.
not only that, I mean, now with the Gear Hulk, he's got hit clock of his own here too.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that once Cuneo's deck turns the corner with these Gear Hulks, it ends very quickly. They produce a very fast clock.
So now we're going to see an Aghanim Awakening for 2. Get the Core Spirit Dancer back, escape Sentinel's Eye, and at this point, just hope to get the Core Spirit Dancer big enough where at least you can block the Torrential Gear Hulk this turn. And yeah, this is great. Now a removal spell will not deal with the Core Spirit Dancer, and this can block.
Hey, that couldn't have gone much better for Kumagai, but you still have to wonder if he's going to be able to get the job done here, because the attacks are very real. These Gear Hulks can still attack unimpeded into the Core Spirit Dancer, knocking Riku Kumagai down to 11, and there could be a massive Shark coming in as well. What, a 7/7?
Yeah, this is going to get Riku down to 11, and then we're going to see a 7/7 Shark, and with the 2 attacks here from the Gear Hulks, that's going to be a lethal attack unless Riku can find something here to find a way to gain some life.
He kind of did. He found a Hateful Eidolon. If that blocks one of the Gear Hulks.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a long-term solution, but it's not dead on board.
It is not dead on board. Now, of course, Cuneo's got 2 draws here with the Shark Typhoon, but yes, he is technically not dead now, unless Cuneo finds a removal spell here to close it out.
Yeah, I'm sure that anybody who's been listening or watching coverage for a while knows, though, that technically not dead right now is not good news if you're sitting in Riku Kumagai's seat, because while it's better than being actually dead, it can be real tough. Now, it looks like you drew a couple of cards there off of the Hateful Eidolon trigger.
That's really interesting, because now, before Riku had no other cards to draw, and now he's going to be able to put more cards together here.
Yeah, I wonder if Andrew just wanted to take the hit there.
Yeah, because now he drew 2 cards because the Core Spirit Dancer died.
Mm-hmm. And the trigger from the Hateful Eidolon.
And now he's going to draw an additional 2 cards here.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure how much removal Riku would keep in this matchup, so maybe it's still okay. But, I mean, look at this.
He gets to use all this mana now. Look at this.
Yeah.
Kaya's Ghost form into hand.
I feel like there's a glimmer of hope here for Riku now, especially because Andrew cycled into a land here. That one's dicey. That one's gonna...
Thoughtseize doesn't do anything since we happen to see the hands, except for reduce Riku's Kumagai's life total by 2. Land go. Oh, Shadow's Verdict off the top, though. Is it enough? Yes, it is.
It'll kill the shark,
leave
but
the
it's still
Gear Hulks behind.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not.
Oh, it's not quite enough because the
Ghost
Spirit
form.
Dancer comes back, but it can force a chump block. And that's going to be the concession. Andrew Cuneo wins the match 2-0 and improves to 11-4. Now, you'll note here that doesn't say top 8 underneath it, because Andrew Cuneo still needs to cross his fingers on the tiebreaker math, but has put himself in a good position.